All right. What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday morning, getting ready to go bowl scorpion, but I figure we might as well recap last night a little bit. And as you could tell by looking at scores, it did not go as planned, which is pretty typical every year at the World Series on this pattern. I've never made the finals on this pattern. I've been close a couple of years where I actually felt like my ball reaction was pretty good and matched up, and my ball was carrying, getting the corners out. This was not one of those years. Um, I saw the same issues game two that I saw the first set, and I bowled another 170 game two. And that was really my only real bad game. I bowled 2-teen the first game, just struggled to get out of the gates. My ball reaction was good to start, and then it kind of fell off a little bit near the middle, and then I figured it out again at the end to finish strong for 2-teen. But scores were a little higher in the night block. It still finished right around where I thought it would. Like I said, right around 200 over was going to be pretty good after the day. And I told myself I'd be happy if I got to 100 over, 150 over. Well, didn't get there. Got to 83 over, well short of the goal. But, so I lost a little bit more ground. So now I'm 120 back of where I need to be. But, there's still 20 games to go, and 100 pins in 20 games, that's not a lot. So we're going to have some work to do on Scorpion and Shark the next 2 days. Longer patterns. Hopefully can figure out the right ball reaction. I felt like I threw it pretty good last night. I made a pretty good move. After game two, I got frustrated and trying to finesse it and trying to get the ball to do little things, to be cleaner through the front and a little bit better motion down lane, see if that would help. And it just trying to be too cute with it never really seems to work out. So I bailed on that, and I grabbed my purple hammer and I jumped left and I just started banging on it and throwing it at the gutter with the purple hammer. And I bowled 238 game three, 230 that with two really bad shots in between 4 and 5 baggers that, I mean, that's 250, 260 pretty easy if I, make a mediocre shot instead of an awful shot in between. But I ended up bowling 230. That got me back to the 50 over range. And then the next game, same type of thing, had 260 going, and I wrapped 10 late in the game, and then I could double in the 10th for 240. And I end up throwing another one awful and in a bad spot and splitting in the 10th for, I end up shooting 220. So now I'm 70 over. And I'm like, all right, well, my ball reaction's pretty good. Things are going pretty well right now. At least I'm not bowling 2-0 or, 190 or worse. I'm actually bowling 220, 230. I'm not making up a ton of ground, but at least I'm keeping myself in contention right now until I can get to the patterns I feel more comfortable on. That pattern always, for some reason, gets me, even though I've got titles on that pattern. And don't ask me how, but I do have multiple titles on that pattern. It just, for some reason, I'm never comfortable on that pattern. I'm never comfortable doing the things that need to be done to get the pins to fall. So, so I figured if I was shooting 230, maybe find a way to pop off 250, 260. Going into that last game, I'm like, man, I could still get to about 130, 140 over. That would be okay. And I start out the last game, just strike, 4-pin, pair was hooking a little bit more, strike again on the left lane, and then I get back up on the right lane and flat 10. It's like, oh, not this again. 4-pin flat 10, really? Like that's the worst type of ball reaction you can have. Actually, that's not true. It got worse. So I 4-pin, flat 10. I do actually strike again on the left lane, and then I find a way to strike on the right lane. But then I throw one bad on the left lane, and I think I 2-pin. Or no, it hooks through the face. And then on the right lane, I 2-pin. So it's like, good grief. But anyway, I stayed clean through the game and bowled 2-0. But definitely lost ground there. Wasn't the greatest game. Thought I threw it better than 2-0. Thought I threw it better than 50 over for the block, but apparently not. There are a few guys that really struggled on that pattern. Guys that strike a lot that couldn't figure out how to strike a lot on that pattern. So, I mean, nobody's really, there's a few guys at the bottom that are pretty well out of it already after day one, but, nobody else is really out of it. It's not like it's 200 over, but that's the highest scoring day usually. So scores slow down quite a bit. So generally what happens is, people go crazy on cheetah. You get a lot of high scores. And then, not most, but a few of those guys struggle on scorpion, which then brings the scores back down a little bit. Generally, the top 24 or 30 cut for a world championship stays right around the same the next day as what it finished at the first day. And then it goes up just a few pins. But generally, for the next couple of days, you probably won't see that cut number go up a ton. It'll be, I would think the top 30 after both days is probably going to be close to about 215 a game. So maybe 450 over, maybe if it might get there. I don't know. It's hard to say. Practicing on scorpion, there was a little bit more hook. So maybe scores will keep up with cheetah on that pattern. It could, I don't know. But generally speaking, with the experience of the patterns from previous years, usually the next couple of days are much lower scoring. So I think shark will be much lower scoring because of how tight they are. I mean, on scorpion or on shark, keep getting them confused, but they're both longer patterns. But on shark, your ball literally tries to hook in the front, and then it looks like somebody kicks it back to the right. Like it just keeps floating back to the right, and then it tries to hook again. But I mean, I had a pretty good ball reaction in practice on that pattern using my gem because it was a strong ball. So I'm expecting to bowl pretty well. But I'm not going to go out looking for 250s. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make that same mistake. I'm going to go out, try to keep it in play, and not try to dig myself a hole. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to go out and put a couple of big games up right away, but I'm not going to go looking for that 250 ball reaction. I'm going to go looking for a bowling ball that's going to keep me in play, and I can make my adjustments from there and hope that they work out, as we move forward. And hopefully I can put up 230, 240 the first game, just making good shots with mediocre ball reaction, unless I find good ball reaction. And then, we'll go from there. But I just don't want to get myself in a spot where I feel like, okay, now I'm falling behind. Now I have to press and look for 250 because I have to catch up. You just don't want to fall into that trap, because that's exactly what happened last night. Like after the first game, bowl 2-team the first game, and then you bowl 170. Or I started out that second game, it was like strike, 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 spare. All pretty good shots, and it's just like, okay, I got to figure out how to strike because I need to make up some ground. And you start fishing around and start looking around and start moving around and trying to play different angles, and all of a sudden you split here, and you start leaving more multi-pin spares, and you're losing count, and it all piles up eventually. So it's tough. You either you got guys that literally throw the same balls through 10 games, the same 2 or 3 balls at most through 10 games because they match up really well. And you got other guys that are throwing 6, 7 different balls trying to figure it out. Some of them never figure it out and they struggle, and some do and they bowl good. So it just depends on the situation. But I'm going to go out today, hopefully not searching for anything great, and just hopefully let the ball work and they all fall, in my favor for today. So we'll see what happens, but I'm gonna get out of here. I'll show you my lane talk stats and all that good jazz if you haven't already seen them. I might have already put them on this video for you, but yeah, or maybe I'll just leave them up in the corner the whole time. That's probably what I'll end up doing when I edit this. So anyway, I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later. I haven't been able to get much footage at the events because my card broke. So my memory card broke for the camera, so I got to go buy another one. But maybe I'll get some footage today. Maybe that's what's holding me back. Maybe I need to have a camera behind me and I'll feel better. But I'm out of here. We'll see you guys in a little bit for another update.